So let's dig in. So, as within, so without equals your inner state. It's your lived experience. Everything in your life you have created based on your self concept. As within, who you think you are is expressed outside of you. As within, so without your inner state. Just let that land for a second, because what truly lights me up in these transmissions or teachings or whatever you want to call them is what we do next, because we are so powerful. If we've created everything in our life up until this point, then what happens when you consciously, with intention, create your life? Think of the miracles, right? And you may think to yourself, as soon as I say that, as within, so without. Okay, so I've created everything. Well, that's just great because my life isn't great. And maybe you do sort of embrace that. I hear you. But there's been a lot of good stuff in your life too, right? And so if there's been a lot of good stuff, then can we perpetuate that good stuff? Yeah, we can. Because, or in the how, is within our own self concept. How we see ourselves is how others see us. They're just not using the same words. And so our self concept is, again, how you see yourself, what you expect, what feels normal to your nervous system. And so, how do you see yourself? I mean, truly, how do you see yourself? Because it's in those quiet moments when no one's looking that it's all there for you to see. What's the narrative running in those thoughts of yours? Think about how often you keep yourself in blame, shame, and guilt. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's very victimhood. And so you have become the victim of your life based on your own self-concept, based on who you believe yourself to be. Now let's revisit these beliefs. Where do these beliefs come from? And so I want to be pretty clear on something. I think that our beliefs are really unconscious within us. They're just something that we have attached to because we haven't thought of something different. When we are consciously aware, then we have choice. Now we can see something different. That becomes a knowing, because something that is what you know, someone cannot take from you. Okay? So our beliefs come from how we were raised, our parents, our ancestors, epigenetics. It comes from our religion, from our culture, from what we have seen on the TV, on the news, in the media, and on it goes. Until we pause and think to ourselves, that's interesting. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Instead of this version that I just keep perpetuating within myself. And so you're going to perpetuate this again based on what feels safe and normal in your nervous system. Do you know what safety is? Because I can guarantee you weren't taught it. I know I wasn't. In order for us to truly be taught what safety was as a child, it would mean that we have to have a really, really sort of enlightened parent. And I don't mean in the journey of enlightenment, but I mean a very enlightened parent who has, who understands and has practices this work on a daily basis and has. Because then that parent shows up in safety. Thus, they can show their child. Right? So that hasn't happened. That's okay, because it's not what has happened to us. It's what we do next that matters most. And your nervous system organizes around familiarity, not expansion. It's going to continue to do the things that it has done until you can stop that automation, that narration within about what is free. 1 second. My screen just disappeared. All right, I think we're still on here. Ooh, sorry about that. And so the more that we continue to create familiar situations, it feels super safe for us, but it is not where we expand. You know, I just got off a podcast and I was asked the question more about this nervous system in this practice. And so I'm going to integrate it with you right now. And I want you to try this on. Everything I say is an invitation to try it on. Because how many things have you listened to? How many things have you read but never implemented in your life? This is an invitation to try it on, because if you don't try it on, you'll never know how it feels. You'll never know the possibilities, the miracles that can happen when you can become aware, consciously aware of the life that you have created. And so when it comes to familiarity, our nervous system, it thrives off of it. So does our ego. And so think about this. Think about right now the problem that you have in your life, right? Maybe it's your work, maybe it's, the person that you're with, and think about finding a new job tomorrow. Or don't even think about finding a new job. Think about doing exactly what feels the best for you. Perhaps it's painting. Perhaps it's, going to hike. I don't know what it is for you, but think about that and then pause and just witness what happens after that. Because your ego is going to be like, nah, you can't do that. What about the bills? What about the children? What about the dog? What about this? What about that? What will people think? That's where that lies right there. You don't feel safe enough to hold this expansion based on your self-concept. And so you have created everything in your life. And that is so powerful and so unbelievably beautiful. And so how do we bring more safety? How do we change or shift who it is that we think about ourselves? Because your brain has filters, right? And it uses your reality to confirm your identity. And most of us are coming from victimhood. So we aren't seen. Our life is shitty. And then it looks for all the ways that it's true. It's like, hold on a second. This is who we are. And now we're going to prove it. Oh, that person cut me off. It's because I'm unseen. See that? Nobody ever sees me. Nothing ever goes right. Everything sucks. Sound familiar? You don't experience life objectively. You experience through the filter of your own identity. And that has created, as within, so without. And just let that land for a second. Let it land. Your life organizes itself around who you believe yourself to be. I'll say it again. Your life organizes itself around who you believe yourself to be. Let that land. That's what you've created. If you believe I'm not chosen, you'll see rejection everywhere. If you believe people don't understand me, you will continuously feel misunderstood, and you will look for all the evidence that that is true. If you believe I struggle, your life will reflect struggle, as within, so without. Not because it is true, but because it is familiar. Think about blame, shame, and guilt. I know you've done it to yourself today. Something has happened or something has come across your thought field, and you have thought to yourself, oh, I should have done that differently. Or I can't believe this is happening, right? Insert anything in there. Our life has organized around it because it's familiar, because it's how we see ourselves. So therefore, it is how everyone sees us. They may not know it, but that is true. And this is not about blame. It is not about blame at all. It is about awareness. Because the moment you see that pattern, you're no longer inside of it and you are witnessing it. And that's where choice returns. Witness who you think yourself to be. Witness it. Do not attach to it. Last week, I posted about being a good person. And the person asking me, do I think they're a good person? And it doesn't matter what I think, because good, my definition of good, comes from my beliefs. But do you think you're a good person? What does good even mean to you? And if you want to be a good person, then every decision and choice should reflect you being a good person, not caring if you're right, because free is better. And so allow choice to return, witness, and allow that choice to return to you. Because when we when we witness, we have stopped the reaction. We have paused. We have shown ourselves what safety feels like. It's not something we've attached to. You have created everything in your life based on what you have attached to. What you think about yourself, you have attached to those thoughts, thus creating your life. So what if you consciously choose who you think you are? Everything will shift around that. If you don't believe me, try it on, right? And today, here's your practice for today. Something to try on. What do I believe about myself? Think about that. What stories keep repeating? And what feels normal in my life? And then ask, is this who I want to be? Not someday, right now. Is this who I want to be? If this is landing for you, try it on. Like it, subscribe, comment, let me know you're here. Challenge me if you so choose. This is your life. How you see yourself is how everyone sees you. It's how your life has organized. As within, so without. If you want to be a loving person, then it starts within first. It starts within first. Don't you want that? Don't you want to be the person you want to be? The person you think about? We all have those versions of ourselves in there. What stops us is how we see ourselves, who we believe ourselves to be. But I'm asking you to stop believing and to start knowing. To start knowing who you are. And that comes through awareness. That comes through your self-concept. And I'll continue to talk about this. As within, so without. I'll continue to talk about this and share it in as many ways that I can. Because this is the work. This is the work. This is the journey you're on. And if you're still listening, then you're here for it. Try it on. Try it on. You don't need to change your entire life today. You don't need to become aware of who you're being. Because as within, so without. And when you shift what's within, everything begins to reorganize around it. As within, so without. Until next time, cheers.